Good evening. Welcome to the Mental Space with Sean Garvey right here on News and Talk 1380 WAOK and on your Odyssey app. Just make sure you download the Odyssey app if you haven't already and listen on the go. You can also tell your smart speaker, Alexa, play News and Talk 1380 WAOK. We are also simulcasting the Mental Space on the Flow television network. So if you're not in front of a computer, you can check us out live on your smart TV. Just go to your Roku TV and download the Flow app. And once you download the Flow app, you can watch the Mental Space on the Flow. I just love it. I just love simulcasting the Mental Space on both radio and on television. We want to make sure that we connect with everybody worldwide. How are you doing on this Wednesday evening? We got a lot of stuff to cover. My executive producer, Simone, is out this evening, so it is only me in the studio. You have me between now and maybe until 10 p.m. This is probably going to be an extended version of the Mental Space because we have so much to cover, so much happening in the news that are mental health related. So much is happening. We're going to have to do 4 breathing exercises, not just only 2, but we're going to do 4 this time. All right, you ready? Let's do it. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. We're going to do it 2 more times. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more time. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, I only had to do it 4 times. Usually, I only do it 2, but had to do it 4 times with so much happening in the news and in the world. But don't worry, folks. We're going to still give you great quality content on the Mental Space like we do each and every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. But like I said, we may extend it to 10 o'clock because we got so much to cover on tonight's show, including some pre-tape interviews we got coming up later on in the program. Our very own Magic, who works behind the scenes, but you know him as the Magic Man, the voice himself. We're going to play a pre-recorded interview of Magic talking about his mental health journey. You will be amazed on what he is going to talk about on tonight's show. Plus, Kim Warner of Interfaith Wealth Builders. We got a pre-recorded interview of her talking about her mental health journey, and in honor and recognition of National Domestic Violence Month, she's going to talk about a situation that she was in a long time ago. A domestic violence survivor. We're going to talk to her and learn more about her story later on in the program. Plus, we got What Time Is It? We got that segment coming up. Sending our wishes and prayers and thoughts to the people affected by the war between Israel and Palestine. We want to get your comments. This is also going to be a call-in show, so don't think you're just going to hear 2 pre-recorded interviews tonight. We are opening the phone lines up at 404-726-1380 to get your thoughts. And the question tonight that I want to raise to all of my WAOK listeners listening to us, how is this war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? I know it's affecting mine. What about you? 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Plus, I want to address the elephant in the room. Actually, it's 2 elephants that I want to address in the first hour of the Mental Space. Sean Garvey solo tonight, right here on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
What's going on, y'all? This is Dwelle representing Detroit City, and I'm hanging out with my man, Sean Garvey. You know what it is.
Hello, this is Sean Garvey, the host of the Mental Space. The following program is for information and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist. I am only a mental health advocate. Please contact a licensed therapist in your local area. And if you or someone you know is facing a mental health crisis, please dial 988. The number again is 988. Thank you and enjoy the show on News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to experience something paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable? Join host Jack Wagner on the podcast Otherworld as he explores spine-chilling real stories shared by everyday people who have experienced something unexplainable. Listen each week for first
so much for hanging out with me. What time is it? This is the segment in which we ask, what time is it? And how important time is in your life. What time is it? It is time for you to go see the doctor. Famous icon actress Suzanne Summers, known for TV shows like Three's Company and Step by Step, transitioned at the age of 76. She would have been 77 years of age. She was very candidly talking about her medical history, her health, on and off, especially in interviews. I want to play a clip of something she said on live. And it was an older gentleman that was in the background, believed to be her husband. But she talked about seeing a doctor, and the doctor advised her on why it is important that she needs to slow down and take some rest. So here we go. Here's the clip. and this audio is moments or maybe 24 hours or less before her death. Let's go ahead and play the clip. This is Suzanne Summers, actress, talking about the importance of slowing down and taking some rest.
When you feel tired, lay down. Your body is asking you to give it time to heal. So that's all I seem like I've been doing for the last year or so, that I'm healing and I'm so much better.
And actually, I've taught you, or at least encouraged you to have naps.
Yeah.
I've never had a nap in my life.
Yeah, but you do them really well.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had my first nap, and I thought, why have I been fighting this?
Remember that doctor in Atlanta? We went to him for something.
Yeah, he's dead.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last thing he said to me when you got off the table, was he a chiropractor?
He was like a super chiropractor.
Yeah. Anyway, he said to me, you make sure he takes naps. And he said that 3 times. Make sure he takes naps.
Well, he took lots of
He was a real good doctor. In fact,
I'm
Nick
sure,
Gonzalez.
I'm sure he's doctoring right now.
Dr. Nick Gonzalez, who I interviewed in at least 3 of my books, maybe more. The reason we went to Atlanta to this doctor, because Alan has something wrong with his neck, and Nick Gonzalez said to me, I've never done this before, but I'm recommending that you go to Dallas, and this doctor is a chiropractor. I'm sure he said he was a chiropractor. And he said,
But he invented that incredible machine
that
being used by chiropractors.
Right. Right. And he said, I've even sent my wife to him. So when that doctor said to me, make sure he takes naps, I thought, I'm listening to you. I miss Nick Gonzalez.
I do too.
He was
He was the real deal.
yeah, he was sent by God. His protocol for cancer was and don't laugh when the media did was make fun of him. Coffee enemas.
But it has to be organic coffee.
Yeah.
Preferably free trade as well, but at least organic, because if you use regular coffee, if you knew all the...
Remember that article we read the other day about
all the terrible things that are
conventional versus organic coffee?
You wouldn't even keep it in your pantry.
You wouldn't. But anyway, he was so successful in curing people's cancer through coffee enemas. And I said, why? And he said, well, the liver is like a sponge. He said, and when you take the coffee in by enema, it goes up and it like loosens up the sponge, which is the liver. And then you take pancreatic enzymes and that eats the debris. Debris is cancer or toxins. And he was supposed to, present 126 case studies to the medical board in New York of stage 4 cancer patients, including pancreatic, all of whom had been alive 10 years or longer. And
by the way, those books have been published.
My books.
No, his books.
His books, yeah.
With those 120 people.
Yes, right. And when I interviewed him, and then I interviewed his patients, they were telling me these miraculous things. And so it makes sense, doesn't it? Detox the body, i.e. coffee enemas, and then clean it out with the pancreatic enzymes.
But he also, for both of us, he delved into our past, our family past,
Mm-hmm.
and created diets that were consistent.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Starting with your
right, exactly.
early cellular life.
You know, if you're from the islands, it's going to be a plant and fruit-based diet. If you're from the Arctic, it's going to be mainly meat and fat and fish.
Right.
So that was a audio clip of the now late actress Suzanne Summers talking about health, what she and what others need to be mindful of when putting certain things in their body that can cause illnesses, even at times cancerous. And just listening to that excerpt and how it affects one's mental health and even the physical health, it had me thinking, and I spoke about this before on the mental space, at 39 going on 40, your body goes through so many changes as you get older. And you start to become conscious of the type of foods and the type of different things that you put into your system that can bring long-term illnesses. Certain coffee and certain foods, processed foods. We had Brother Akhenaten on the show to touch on how foods can affect one's mental. It will put you in a bad kind of mood. It will make you less active. You not want to go out anywhere. And then next thing you know, you're in the hospital. You're in the hospital. You're in the doctor's office, not knowing if what you're feeling on the inside is going to be something short-term or long-term and can escalate into something even more serious. So take the time, ladies and gentlemen, to go see the doctor. There's 24 hours in a day. We wake up, we shower, we eat breakfast, we go to work, we drive, we commute, we take our kids to school. We do all the things, we do all the day-to-day things that us as adults do to stay proactive and to stay productive. But when is the last time you went to the doctor? Whether it's for a prostate exam or an annual physical, take the time to go see the doctor so you can live a long and healthy life. Right here on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. Coming up, I got to address two elephants in the room. And I am still taking your phone calls at 404-726-1380. The question of the night: how is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? I'm looking at CNN right now, and a father, according to CNN, gets chilling call about one of the groups out there taking his daughter and son hostage. So you can just only imagine mentally of what he is going through during this war between Israel and Palestine. We want to hear from you. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We got news coming up right here on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey.
Boy, Earthquake, and my main man, my only man when I hit the ATL, my main man, Sean Garvey.
Breaking news, sports, weather, coming from the WAOK News Center.
President Biden is once again saying he believes the Gaza hospital was bombed by Hamas. While at Ramstein Air Base in Germany on his way back from Israel, Biden said he's seen the evidence and added it wouldn't be the first time that Hamas launched.
And we're back. Welcome to the Mental Space with Sean Garvey right here on News and Talk 1380 WAOK and on the Odyssey app. News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Good evening. It is Sean Garvey, the Mental Space. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We are taking your phone calls. The question of the night is, how is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. I am solo in the studio. So when I mean by solo, I am answering calls, I am editing, and I am talking to you guys, but I love it. Once again, the telephone number, 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. And the question of the night is, how is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? I will get into my other commentary in just a few moments, but I want to hear from you. Let's go over to the phone lines and speak to one of our Mental Space listeners. Good evening. Is this Eric? Rashid. Oh, okay, Rashid. Hey, good evening, Rashid. How you doing? How's your mental health? Good, good.
Media, which is controlled by the NSA and the CIA. So they put out the official story and they tell them what to say. And you got to realize too that with the whole thing with the stories put out by how the Hamas parachuted in a concert, and then they got some babies and chopped 40 babies' heads off. It's all a lie. And what they found out through independent research, that the IDF soldier told an Israeli Jewish journalist, this is the story. And she was like, do you have any verification? He said, well, that's the story. So she went with the story. They printed it all out. That same story goes to BBC out of England, and then it goes to CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CBS, NPR, all the American media. So it's like it's always one-sided, and you never hear a Palestinian side. You never hear a Palestinian voice. You never hear a Palestinian woman or man explaining, because they don't allow it. And that's how it's done in Israel. And that's how it's done in the American journalistic system here. But if you go to independent news sites like electricintifada.com, or you go to Democracy Now! On YouTube, or you go to Navarra Media, and they answer these important questions, and they also verify. And one of the Indian ladies, she has a show, and it's called Vantage. And she said, an important point is, she said, she's independent now. She's looking objectively. She said, what did she say? She said, think before you believe, verify before you report, because all your actions will have consequences. And this is true. And Palestinians, they've been oppressed for so long. The Israelis got so many checkpoints all across, quote unquote, Palestine or Israel. Like if you lived in Decatur and you were going maybe 2 miles away, your family lived over there, you might go through a checkpoint. That checkpoint may take possibly 6 to 8 hours to get to the other side. And in the process, you have these Jewish settlers, and they'll have like these cups of urine and feces that they saved up. So while you're going to the checkpoint, they throwing it at you inside the little checkpoint cage, calling you a dog. I'm talking about men and women, calling the Palestinian men, women, and children dogs. And then not only that, the Palestinians, all 2 million of them, they really are dying. They were dying before them because Israel makes them drink sewage water, cut off the water supply. Even before that, they would always limit their food supply, water and food supply. A lot of them they live off land, like grow their own food, or they fish in the ocean for fish. Israel doesn't allow them to fish. Israel doesn't allow them to grow their own crops or the olive trees, which are very important in their culture. They dig up the olive trees. If there's a Palestinian family that's lived in their house for so many years, when they Israelis or Jews from America, from Europe, from Russia, from Poland, from Ukraine could come there and say, we want to relocate. So they'll kick the Palestinians out their own house and tell them it's now Jewish property.
What? Mm-hmm. Well, Rashid, let me, if you don't mind, let me jump in because we're coming up on a break real soon. I want to touch on a couple of points you just made. Number one, I'm not here to argue which particular platform or outlet is providing consumers or viewers of television and the news on which platform is providing accurate information or misinformation. And I know you are adding context to this ongoing war that's been going on since, from my understanding, since the mid 20th century. But I can only imagine what the Palestinians are going through, or families of the Palestinians are going through during this war, and how is it affecting them mentally. But how is it affecting you, being an American citizen, being a person here in the States, and you seeing it unfolding on television? How is it affecting you mentally? Because I'm hearing people saying, hey, it's hitting close to home to me, because when you look at these wars that's going on in foreign land, in foreign countries, it could happen here. And I'm afraid. So.
They always blame the Palestinians first for their own crimes. So yeah, it affects me to see the killings of the genocide. They just taking those people's land. They have nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. It's hard. It's hard to hear about it. It's hard to watch. I appreciate your phone call and your commentary. Thank you so much, Rashid. Make sure to tune in to us and tell somebody to tune in to the Mental Space with Sean Garvey, Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. I can hear the passion in his voice, and there are people right now that are very passionate against this war. There was a rally at the Capitol earlier today, and plenty of protest rallies across the country demanding that they cease fire in this war. And like I said just a few moments ago, you have a father who's being affected by it because his daughter is caught up in that. So we want to hear from you, 404-726-1380. And it may not even affect your mental health. You're just very passionate about it. You may just feel like, I wish this war would just end immediately because I do not want to see any more bloodshed. I don't want to see it either. I don't want to see it being ongoing and ongoing. We want to hear from you. 404-726-1380 is the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. News and Talk 1380, WAOK, and on the Flow Television Network.
Bro, ATL, Big Bang, and DJ 2. You're now in tune into the mental space with my man Sean Garvey of WAOK.
It's the new Rashad Ritchie Morning Show, weekday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
This your man Rashad Ritchie, host of the Rashad Ritchie Morning Show. Politics, social issues, entertainment, and yeah, even some trap music. We talk about it all. The Rashad Ritchie Morning Show.
hear from you. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Welcome back to the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. News Talk 1380 WAOK, excuse me. Working behind the board here and in front of the scenes at the same time. Our very own executive producer, Simone, is out this evening. Sean Garvey, the question we are asking tonight is, how is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? Let's say you. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Let's go back to the phone lines and speak to Amina from Clarkston. Amina, good evening. I am so happy you are here.
They give so much support to them with war machines to kill people just to take their land. That's all this is about. And then they conflate it and pretend that it's a religious war when there is no religious basis for this. There are Palestinian Christians, there are Black Christians and other ethnicities that have lived side by side in that region for centuries. This is about an agreement and a treaty and a peace plan that was violated 75 years ago. They keep trying to pretend that they're justified in their anger, in their warmongering, in their oppression of innocent people. People are innocent on both sides, but yet they want to try to say, we represent America. This is our tax dollars going to kill people, and I resent it. And I think right now, this president, everybody, every politician on every side, it doesn't matter what party, because they all have blood on their hands. They brought us over here. Us, like slaves, we built this country. And for our tax dollars to continue to be used to kill people on their behalf is inhumane. Why don't we just cut off their payment supply? Why are they even being paid? I'm talking about the president on down, all the politicians, everybody that keeps talking about shutting down the government, but yet we have all these people in this country, around the world, and in this country, homeless. Money for war, I guarantee you they have health care. I'm talking about all these policymakers that make all these decisions. And this is foreign policy decisions that they're making against our interests. We, the American people, didn't ask for this. They decided to do this. And then they keep allocating more and more money to still kill people. Shut the whole war machine down. That's what I say. For a change. I'm sick and tired of these people. And then they want you to vote for them? No, they all need to go. They all need to go. Biden, Trump, everybody else in between. All of them, until they can stop killing people indiscriminately and justifying.
I mean, and let me jump in because I was thinking about it on the way over here. And from a mental standpoint, right, I'm thinking about it like, okay, the amount of money that's been invested in these wars, not just only the war that's going on between Israel and Palestine, but the war going on between Russia and Ukraine, and the amount of money invested into that, trillions of dollars. We're not talking about thousands, we're not talking about millions. But yeah.
Help all the people that are on the streets of America. I look at the feed all the time from around the country. We got cities that are shutting down because the homeless problem is so bad, and then they got a nerve to bring all these migrants over here.
So do you think, Amina? Now let me ask you a quick question before we go to break. So you think that this war, or this ongoing war between Israel and Palestine, is a trickling effect to the economy here in America, where people are losing their jobs, people are being affected from a monetary standpoint? It's causing relationships to end. It's causing people to get into debt. Are you saying that's pretty much what's happening right now, and why people are so stressed out?
Oh, a lot of the public is just starting to learn. The mainstream is that, you know, this president was in on with the CDC and everybody else, all these agencies, government agencies, supposedly representing us, are censoring free speech for people that did not want to take that poison bioweapon. That's what those shots were, bioweapons. And this is why Fauci and all of them are resigning and easing off, because you can't sue them. But there's so many people that have been injured. And then you have a lot of people that were unjustly fired. I just was reading about some healthcare workers right in New York and other parts of the country that sued this government for trying to censor free speech and free choice in your own healthcare. They want to shut down, they want to bring about tyranny and fascism over your health, that you can't, they want to make your decisions for you. That's not democracy. That's a dictatorship they're trying to bring about. We're supposed to be the United States of America, this same America that we built. Black folks built this country. We built our sweat, tears, and sacrifice, built this country, and they keep spending it on war. It's time to shut them down.
Okay, okay. Okay. Well, you know, we are in an election season right now, Mina. So, you know, I you might do something a little bit different than you did 4 years ago. I don't know, but I will say that I will say this in my personal opinion, and this opinion only represents me and not Odyssey and WAOK 1380. I think that the powers that be, need to, if you're talking about shutting down something, I think they need to shut down and suspend the lottery system here in America. You know, just saying. I'm just saying. I know some people. I get it. Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you so much. I feel the passion, Amina. Thank you so much. Keep calling into the mental space Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have some passionate people out there that are feeling a type of way about this war, which is just devastating. I'm still keeping my eyes glued while talking to you all to the TV. And like I mentioned earlier, father of a daughter taken into hostage by Hamas during this ongoing war, which is very unfortunate. But that's the question. How is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? You can put it in the comment section at 1380 WAOK on IG, and make sure you follow IG 1380 WAOK while you're on there. We're going to switch gears for one moment because coming up, we got the Magic Man himself, a pre-recorded interview that I'm going to play in just a few moments. But I got to get something off my chest, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because this is the mental space, and I'm providing a safe space, not only for you all, but for myself as well. And this conversation that we're having with the war between Israel and Palestine is the reason why I do not want to give 2 hours of airtime to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith. And I'm going to tell you why. Coming up in just a few moments.
Hey, here with Sean Garvey on the mental space. Listen, don't make room for bad news. Make every day your own good news and always keep yourself and others in a great mental space. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
1380 WAOK is live and local with the Rashad Ritchie Morning Show.
What's happening? This your man Rashad Ritchie, the realest man on radio.
On point with Wandel and Stokes.
It is on point with Wandel and Stokes, always encouraging you to live well and win well.
And Too Much Truth with Derek Bozeman.
Hey, this is Derek Bozeman, ATL's own. I didn't come here, I'm from here.
The voice of the community. We are WAOK Atlanta, WVEE HD3. And we're always live on the Odyssey app. Breaking news, sports, weather, coming from the WAOK News Center.
President Biden once again says Israel is not to blame for a rocket attack on a Gaza hospital that killed hundreds.
It's not the first time Hamas has launched something that didn't function.
While on his way back from Israel, Biden said he's seen the evidence. The president is set to address the nation tomorrow to discuss the U.S. response to the Hamas attack against Israel in a primetime speech at 8 p.m. Eastern. Meantime, former President Trump is criticizing the U.S. for providing $100 million in aid to Gaza. Lisa Taylor has the details.
While leaving a New York courtroom for a civil fraud trial on Wednesday, Trump said it was very inappropriate for President Biden to be giving money to Palestinians while visiting Israel. The Biden administration approved the aid to be used to help support more than 1 million displaced Palestinians with clean water.
Now, this is one of those songs that put me in a good mood at times when I'm feeling low or depressed. It's one of those songs. I'm gonna play it just a little bit.
Give me a soft, subtle mix, and if it ain't broke, then don't try to fix it. And think of the summers of the past. Adjust the bass and let the Alpine blast. Pop in my CD and let.
Now that's the kind of song that puts me in a great mental space. The Mental Space with Sean Garvey right here on News and Talk 1380 WAOK. Welcome to the second hour of the Mental Space. Sean Garvey in the studio with you. Simone on vacation. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We are still taking your phone calls. How is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? 404-726-1380. Or you can drop your comments in the comment section on 1380 WAOK IG page. This is the reason why I didn't want to talk about, well, it's not the main reason, but it's one of the reasons why I do not want to talk about the saga with Jada Pinkett Smith, which has been all over the headlines over the past few days. Before coming into the studio, I prep for the show and I stay in tune with the news stories because it's a 24-hour news cycle that we operate off of. And I stay in tune and find out what stories to pick out that are relatable to all things mental health. Because, of course, we talk about mental health, we talk about accountability, we talk about mental well-being. And there's a lot of mental health things that are going on in the world of Jada Pinkett Smith. And I had people come up to me and even email me and DM me asking me if I was going to touch on the Jada Pinkett Smith situation. And I said, no, I'm not. But let me tell you one of the reasons why. Because this Israel and Palestine war, to me, is much more bigger than what Jada Pinkett Smith is doing or trying to do. But let me get into that. Why I one of the reasons, which should be the main reason, but one of the reasons why I didn't want to touch on it. So you all know who Britney Spears is, right? Yes, Miss Oops, I Did It Again, pop singer. Right? I know plenty of people who have listened to Britney Spears. And, you know, on my phone, on my smartphone that I have, I actually have 3 smartphones. And every 15 minutes, I get these alerts, these notifications about what's going on in not just only in current events and in news, but also in entertainment. And so every 15 minutes, I get these news alerts about what Jada Pinkett Smith said in the interview, what she's doing, and what Will Smith is allegedly facing, and this, that, and the other. But I don't hear too much about Britney Spears. And the reason why I'm bringing Britney Spears' name up is because she's been dealing with a lot of mental issues lately. If you've been sleeping under a rock, she was seen on a social media video dancing with knives. And not only that, but getting hit by a basketball player bodyguard, and just so many different nuances that Britney Spears has put herself in. And that's not even talking about her recent divorce. And then now I receive an alert, not just now, but moments ago, I received an alert about Britney Spears shaving her head, which she has done in the past, and all these different things, right? But it seemed like the spotlight is on Jada Pinkett Smith. And I get it, folks. I get it. This is black media. This is black media. We not only talk about current events, news, foreign affairs, and all that other stuff, but we tend to talk about what's going on in pop culture and some of the things that affect us as African Americans. But why is it that the spotlight is so much on Jada Pinkett Smith and her book, and even the slap from last year that we talked about on the show? We did talk about the Oscar slap. And we also talked about Will Smith coming out saying that he experienced central trauma. But why is it that there's so much media coverage on Jada Pinkett Smith and not on a person like Britney Spears, who obviously is having some severe mental issues, mental health issues, mental illness, obviously? And is it because, and I'm going to get deep with you all for a moment, is it because throughout history, African-American actors and actresses and entertainers are more entertaining than its white counterparts? Maybe it's just in our DNA. I don't know. You know, it's been like that since slavery, when they looked at us as less than what they were. It's been like this since minstrel shows and blackface. When the white actors and the white actress put on dark makeup and stereotyped us. And so now it's like every single month we hear about a black entertainer doing all this stuff, but the white entertainers, it just seem like, slap on the wrist. I want to know your thoughts. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Is this all a distraction? This Jada Pinkett Smith thing, is it just a distraction? Because a few days ago, it's been about Jada Pinkett Smith. And now we're sitting here talking about Israel and Palestine, which is not entertaining at all. And just like I said before, anybody is welcome to the mental space. I would love to have both Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith on the mental space. And even Chris Rock. I don't want to leave Chris Rock out. But anybody is welcome to the mental space. Anybody. But we should not make this into an entertaining mockery situation. There are real people dealing with real issues, like mental illness. I want to know your thoughts. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We're going to go to the phone lines when we come back. It's the mental space with Sean Garvey.
Join in WAOK. So you can tune in for Mr. Garvey's mental space. Okay.
Derek Postman gets it to you straight.
You shouldn't sit in jail for no 4 or 5 months because you couldn't pay $100 bond.
No chaser.
Some people have done that.
No ice.
Because the cash bond is required.
Now, this instrumental, I'm not playing it on purpose. It's an accident. And it's not to throw shade to anyone. By the way, this is a Tupac beat. What you would do for love. All right? 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Mental Space, Sean Garvey, News Talk 1380, WAOK. Is this Jada Pinkett Smith saga a distraction and is making us as African Americans look bad? Is it a distraction from the real issues like the war that's going on between Israel and Palestine? And we're still taking your comments. How is the war between Israel and Palestine affecting your mental health? 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Let's go over to Henry from Southeast Atlanta. Good evening, Henry. I'm doing well. How is your mental health, sir?
Working 24 hours. So a lot of times we just don't know all about ourselves as we might do when we dealing with things consciously. And a lot of times the subconscious done did a lot of work that good for us or working against us, not intentionally, but is working for us, but a lot of times.
Okay.
And like the sister made mention, she's a proud Muslim. I'm a proud Muslim and have more everyday appreciation from the teaching that I had or heard growing up in the Christian community. And we have, God willing, we have a better understanding of what we was taught during that time. And I'm thinking that once you get a certain age, God willing, you get a better understanding of everything that you was taught, what you was taught, your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, and all. You get a better understanding, as life goes on.
Yeah, I can agree.
a very, very important situation that they're trying to resolve or trying to operate with or without. But, you know, as you say, in the broader sense of what's going on in the community of man, then that's more like a personal situation that they might be asking the public for their help. So we as the public, how can we help them individual is to see how is what they're doing fit into the community life. And what they're doing fit into the community life is what they're doing, is it fit in as a growth to the community, or is it fitting in as a liability to the community? And therefore, can we advise them? Okay, so if they're going to bring that to the public, then hopefully they will be willing to get some feedback from the public. And that feedback, will they utilize that feedback, or will they only utilize and grow from it, or will they only utilize just that what they agree with and don't consider anything else? So, you know, so I think that might be that situation, because we are caught up on the a lot of the pop and glitter, and caught up on a lot of the what goes on in the television.
Well, let me jump in real quick, because we are coming up on a break very soon, Henry. So first thing, number one, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. Jada Pinkett Smith is doing what she's doing to sell books. Just no different from an artist doing certain things on the internet or doing things for publicity, like a publicity stunt to sell albums. Her book, I haven't had a chance to read it, but her book may be her own therapy. But that's why I offered the invitation just now before the break to bring Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith into the studio, maybe even have all three people, her, Will, her husband, and Chris Rock in the same room. That would be a WAOK exclusive, you know, and get a therapist. Get a therapist or a psychiatrist in the studio to get this resolved, because from the public opinion, they saying that they are tired of this. And my thing is this, you know, you can take it for how you want. Just like how Jada Pinkett Smith a few years ago said people need to boycott the Oscars back in 2016, 2017. Well, maybe we need to boycott ourselves. Not boycott ourselves, but boycott from watching any of Jada Pinkett Smith's movies, Will Smith television show, movies. Because here's the thing, Henry, power starts within us. It starts with us, within us, our mindset, and in our wallets from an economic standpoint. Do you follow what I'm saying thus far?
Comment on other communities.
Well, let me do this, because we're up against a break. I'm gonna bring you on, and we're gonna take some more phone calls. So I'm gonna hang you over and get the rest of your commentary. Okay? So hang tight, Henry. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. This Jada Pinkett Smith thing, is it a distraction? A distraction from other things that are important to us, like this Israel and Palestine war, affecting your mental health, affecting your mental well-being. And just like the sister Amina said earlier, called in, people are losing jobs out here. People are sleeping on the streets. And the money is going towards wars, is going towards things that are very detrimental, and it's stressing people out. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. Mental Space, Sean Garvey, News and Talk 1380, WAOK.
Up, everybody, this is a Grammy-nominated creative low-thing People Choice Spoken Word Artist of the Year, Queen Sheba, and it is my honor to be on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey and WAOK.
Breaking news, sports, weather, coming from the WAOK News Center.
ABC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. President Biden is set to address the nation tomorrow from the Oval Office. A statement from Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre released Wednesday says that
morning show on my online radio station, which is 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. And this coming Monday, I'm going to be on live via the Flow Television Network and Reach One Network TV with the Kiana Dancy, the comedian. She's been on the mental space several times. She got an event coming up. We're going to talk about that. Plus, I want to talk about this recent attack that took place on the Six Flags ground. A young teen was attacked by a group of young men. And he was on the news recently talking about it. And I want to talk about Well, I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold that until Monday night, but please tune in. Please, I have a whole lot to say on that. And this is not the first attack or the first incident that took place at Six Flags. I grew up on Six Flags. I went to Six Flags several times as a kid, and I have never experienced any form of violence or attack at Six Flags when I was a kid. But now it's, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. But tune in this Monday night, 8 p.m. YouTube Beat Break Radio. If you are a YouTube watcher, you can check me out on there and wherever you get your streaming platforms from. I'm going to be addressing that and talking to comedian the Kiana Dancy and her upcoming event. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We're going to go back to Henry from Southeast Atlanta. Before the break, Henry, we were talking about, of course, the ongoing war between Israel and Palestine. And it is Jada Pinkett Smith book tour and everything that she is saying a distraction from other important things. And you know what, Henry, before we allow you to share your second comment, I want to mention that there was, and I thought about this before the break, and if you can turn your radio down just a little bit, Henry, we greatly appreciate it. I thought about this during the break, and I don't know if you all know or not, but there was a commercial that advertised Israel. Did you know that? Did you know that, Henry? Yeah, we can hear you now. We just wanted you to turn your radio down because I was hearing some feedback in the background. Yeah. What? Now, did you see the commercial? There was a commercial that was advertising Israel, a tourist attraction. It's like a tourist trip. So if you want to choose a part of the world to go to for a vacation, you go to Israel. And I'm not making this up. It's a commercial. It was a commercial that's put out there, Israel. So I just wanted to point that out because I was thinking about, wait a minute. I remember seeing a commercial. I remember seeing an ad that was advertising Israel. But because of this situation that's going on right now, I don't know if we're going to ever see a commercial like that in a while. Yeah. But, yeah.
We have a great deal of ideas that is colliding with each other. But when we come to Israel, we have a particular idea in one community and then a particular idea in another community. And those ideas at large are colliding. One idea saying that this land belongs to me, regardless of what other community is here, and saying that I have been decreed this favor by the creator of the heavens and the earth, which is a great power. And I am so much in accordance with the will of that great creator that I have a great understanding of what the creator wants from me and what the creator wants me to do. That I am going to do it. And anybody else that confront me less than that, they're not only going against me, but they are going against the Creator. So when we speak of certain person, a lot of times there's a distinction whether we're talking about the Israelis, whether we are talking about the Jewish community, or whether we are talking about the Zionist community. And there's some that say we are Jews and we don't agree with this and that. And some say we are a Jewish community or Israeli community, and we incorporate the Palestinians and the Colossian Jews. And there's some that saying we are the Zionists, and apparently they are saying that we control it all, and we are Zionists, we are Jews, and we are Israelis. And anybody that comes against us, they are coming against God. And therefore, there is no second opinion. And I think that, in what we have been taught, that there's the Jews and the Gentiles, and saying that until we all come together in Christ, then there will be no Jews and Gentiles. But the Jews, the Zionists, they don't believe in Jesus. So just like the young lady said earlier, there's many Christians that's over there in Palestine. But the question is, are we really concerned about the Christians, or are we more concerned about the Gentiles that is connected to the Jewish community or the Zionist community? Mm-hmm. So I think that's so really, I think that conflict is really, we are subconsciously, we look at the Jews as being the closest thing to God.
Okay.
See, up above my head, I hear music in the air. I know that there's got to be a God somewhere. So when we see what's going on over in Israel and over there, our God common sense tells us that, hey, this here is wrong. And if you got to kill somebody, then are you killing them in your name, or are you killing them in God's name? And if you're killing them in God's name, it says, do not use God's name in vain. And therefore, if we can understand that concept, that I've got to be careful what I'm doing. And so that's what I'm thinking, that we're going to hurt our soul. There's going to be a mental problem with us. And there's a whole saying when we went to church. So look at the people. And say, look, what they doing? So look at them, what they doing. So they standing at the judgment. So the people they standing at judgment say, yeah, they standing at judgment. And so they got to be tried.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing it home, Henry. 404-726-1380 is the telephone number. We got Todd coming up. I know he got a lot he wanted to get off his chest because it's the mental space where we provide a safe space to people in the community, just like me and you, right here on News and Talk 1380, WAOK, and on the Flow Television Network.
World, ATL, Big Bang, and DJ2, you're now in tune into the mental space with my man Sean Garvey, WAOK.
WAOK presents On Point with Wandlin Stokes. She's fresh, vibrant, and always on point. Tune in weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and learn to live well and win well.
We're going to have lots of fun together. We're going to talk about everything from politics to fashion, from love to life, from health to wellness. I'm looking forward to our time together, and we'll always keep you on focus.
We're the voice of the community. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
Atlanta, I don't say it unless I believe it.
has consequences about them. And this is the reason why. We're animals. We acknowledge that about ourselves, those that understand basic biology. You know, humans are animals. We're part of the mammal sect of animals. And just like all other animals on Earth, we have some things in common in our behavior. We fight over land. We fight over fresh water. We fight over food that is nutritional to us. And we fight over people that we want to help us reproduce. Spouses, mates, or just people that we want to help us reproduce that may fall in some other category. That is the nature of the human race. However, we're the highest sect of animals that we know of. And we're learning that in order for us to advance, we have to reduce war. Well, in order to reduce war amongst the human race, we have to give more acknowledgement to the petty, compelling causes of it as it does happen. Like this petty, compelling causes as they do happen. And the more that they happen out in the open, as they are doing so, the more foolish it becomes to the rest of the world to get to see it in real time, as opposed to 100 years ago when people were mainly reading about it, or 50 years ago when people were seeing wars around the world, but they were catching it not in real time. And then 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we were just starting to see it in real time, like the Vietnam War. There's a segment of, are you following me? So
I hear you, and that assessment right there thus far, Todd, is something that we can both agree, because it is an animal kingdom. We are in survival mode, so that I can agree.
There's a segment of the population that's coming behind us. If I happen to be fortunate enough to reach 100, I'll probably see that they're a little less than 50 years from now. I'll probably be able to see that the reduction of war has happened. But there's a segment of the population that's going to be born within the next 30 to 40 years that will grow up not having any real life knowledge of there being 40 conflicts between nations on the planet right now. 40 nations in conflict in the world. Some of them are civil wars. Some of them are heads up nation against nation wars. This will be driven down partly through the reduction of religious fanaticism. This is based on the Jewish people believe that they are the chosen people of Yahweh. That is taught to them. Inside the album that we call the book, the Bible, which is actually an album of books, there's a map. there's a map that anybody can see. And the Jewish people believe that's their territory as ordained to them by God. And it's because of that fanatical belief. They believe that anything that comes inside that territory, they're supposed to be allowed to control. And if it doesn't come inside their territory because they don't have it, then there's something wrong. And they also believe they should be catered to as a result of being the chosen people of Yahweh from all those that aren't the chosen people of Yahweh around the planet, including the United States government. Now, I'm not knocking that they believe that, but the reality of the world, the human race, is that if you're going to make a claim like that, whatever the standard is of excellence is, you need to exceed that standard of excellence as it applies to your sharing. And they have not done that. They have not done that. And if you read the Bible historically, they weren't doing it in the Bible if you believe it. I don't believe they're the chosen people, and I don't believe the Bible got it right. But if you are a believer of the stories of the Bible, it's right there for you. They keep getting bailed out because they keep messing up. All right? So having said that, point, Palestinians have been pushed around a lot, okay? And they've been pushed around by the Arab nations. They've been pushed around by a sect inside their group over the years. And they've been pushed around aggressively by Western Europe, the United States, and the nation of Israel. And at some point, the human race is going to say, listen, right or wrong, we need everybody to advance in a healthy way in order for all of us to advance. So we're going to squash this religious fight. And I really believe that the evidence is overwhelming that
born within the next 30 to 40 years, they're not going to grow up in a world where there's 40 nations in conflict. There'll probably be 10. But then by the time they reach their 50s, where I am now, there might be 5. They're going to be very well managed conflicts where human life is casualties are going to be reduced. So I repeat and exit. This war is giving me encouragement, although it's very ugly and wrong, that the world is really getting a chance to see firsthand this and the other numerous conflicts on the planet and say, okay, we're going too far, and we can see it all together now, where we weren't able to see it all together before.
Well, I see where you're coming from. Look, I wasn't born when Pearl Harbor happened. I wasn't born when the Civil War happened and when World War happened. But I see where you're coming from, because the generation today, they looking at this in a state of confusion, or even in a state of curiosity. Like, what can we do? What can we do to end these senseless wars that are happening in foreign lands? So, yeah.
See it myself because I wasn't paying attention at that age. But I was, back into the Vietnam War. You could see that war in real life. I mean, in real time, because they were showing it in real time. Bodies coming in from Vietnam, what they were blowing up, the forests they were knocking down. That was in real time. But it was there. They weren't showing much of anything else. So by the time I got to high school, where I would have cared to even see the replay of all of that, I'm in the 80s. It's in the 80s. By that time, the Vietnam War is well over. All I know is people that came back from it and they're messed up. My dad's buddies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But this right here, and the factual evidence is available to see how it really got started. These kids are grabbing information today at a much higher pace than my group could or your group could when you were a teenager, and they can get the facts, the accurate assessment of the facts, line it up, and say, okay, we're not going to be a participant in this, and we're not going to go on somebody's side just because they're popular. There's some kids that are looking at this and like, I might want to have a Palestinian wife one day, or Israeli wife one day. How am I going to get her if she get killed in this mess?
Yeah, interesting outlook. Now, in exit on my end, Todd, I know I was supposed to address something on the air about a concern that you had. You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do, Todd? Just in your words, in the interest of time, I'm going to reserve that to next week's show, because this somewhat spills into the third hour of the mental space, in which we're going to have a domestic violence survivor on in just a few moments. It might be water under the bridge by then, but I just think it's something that we need to clarify on the air, because you've been a very big supporter of the mental space. And we want to make sure that we provide the clearest clarification to not only each other, Todd, but to our listeners as well. Okay. No, Tom. Okay. In exit, bye. All right. Top of the hour, third hour, we're going into overtime mode. Coming up, Kim Warner, a domestic violence survivor and a part of Interfaith Wealth Builders, will be coming on. This is a pre-taped interview, so please, everybody, thank you so much for calling in during the first 2 hours of the mental space. But in the third hour, we are not going to take any calls because this will be a third hour reserved to Kim Warner as she shares her testimonial story on surviving domestic violence and what she is doing nowadays to help women who are going through, who have went through the same thing that she went through, in honor of National Violence or National Domestic Violence Month. Right here on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey. It is News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
It's your girl, DJ Eclectic, and you're tuned into the Mental Space with none other than Sean Garvey. Y'all always keep yourself and others in a great mental space, y'all. Make sure you keep it locked right here. News and Talk 1380 WAOK.
$13.80 WAOK is live and local with the Rashad Ritchie Morning Show.
What's happening? This your man Rashad Ritchie, the realest man on radio.
On point with Wandel and Stokes.
It is on point with Wandel and Stokes, always encouraging you to live well and win well.
And Too Much Truth with Derek Bozeman.
Hey, this is Derek Bozeman, ATL's own. I didn't come here, I'm from here.
The voice of the community. We are WAOK Atlanta, WVEE HD3. And we're always live on the Odyssey app. Breaking news, sports, weather, coming from the WAOK News Center.
President Biden once again says Israel is not to blame for a rocket attack on a Gaza hospital that killed hundreds. While on his way back from Israel, Biden said he's seen the evidence and added it wouldn't be the first time that Hamas launched something that did not function. Biden is set to address the nation tomorrow to discuss the U.S. response to the Hamas attacks against Israel in a primetime speech at 8 p.m. Eastern. About 300 Jewish activists supporting Palestinians have been arrested at the U.S. Capitol. Police say the arrest took place inside the Capitol Rotunda and around the Capitol complex. Meantime, the U.S. is targeting Iran's missile and UAV programs in new sanctions. More from Lisa Taylor.
The Treasury Department press release says it sanctioned 11 individuals, 8 in titles, and 1 vessel based in Iran and other countries that are enabling Iran's programs. This comes as the war in Gaza causes rising tensions in the Middle East.
Ohio Republican Jim Jordan is not giving up his push to be the next.
Overtime right here on the Mental Space with Sean Garvey, News Talk 1380 WAOK. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this extended version of the Mental Space. So much we had to cover in the first 2 hours of the Mental Space. We decided to add in a third hour to the program in honor of National Domestic Violence Month. It is only right that we play a pre-recorded interview with Kim Warner, a domestic violence survivor who overcame the odds and is now changing lives. So please hold off phone calls and be informed by what this woman of influence had to say. All right, so once again, pre-recorded, hold off phone calls. We're going to shut down the flow. Thank you so much for tuning in on the flow, the mental space. But right now, if you are near a radio or on the Odyssey app, listen in right now to my pre-recorded interview with Kim Warner right here on the mental space as we honor and recognize National Domestic Violence Month. National Domestic Violence Month. Sean Garvey right here on News Talk 1380 WAOK and on the